This is a challenge that I think every Christian should do. Get into some quiet time with God and try to think of a moment in your life that was seemingly small and insignificant in that moment, but if it hadn't happened, your life would have gone in a completely different direction. And I'll give an example in my own life so you can have an idea of what I'm talking about. This is probably one of my favorites because it has a kind of funny beginning. But when I was in high school, I was at a youth group with my friend. We were walking outside, and a friend ran by pointing to this kid sitting in his car and said, "He's a vampire." And confused, we walked over to this kid and asked why our friend called him a vampire, and he just kind of shrugged and said he didn't know. And we asked him to smile, and noticing that his canines were kind of prominent, we responded jokingly, "You are a vampire." And we laughed, and we got to know him and asked some questions and found out that he grew up in a Catholic church but wasn't going to church anymore, and a friend invited him to this youth group, and we ended up becoming friends with him, and eventually I started dating him. And after a while, I felt we weren't really called to be together, and I ended that relationship. But while we were dating, he became a Christian, and after a relationship ended, we stayed friends. And he joined the worship team from this church, and he invited me to check it out. And after I started going to that church for a while, through one of the charity events that this church was hosting, I met my bandmate. And I started managing that band and eventually becoming their drummer. And through that band, we got involved with the Extreme Tour Ministry. And that tour ministry is based out of the Nashville, Tennessee area. And it was after years of being involved with them that we decided to move to the Nashville area from New York. And that tour ministry is also what connected us to the church that we started going to in Nashville, which eventually led me to meeting a friend who invited me to a small group that led to some of the best friends that I have now lived with and done so much life with, and most of my time is spent with them. And my life would be completely different if that friend in high school didn't point to the kid sitting in his car calling him a vampire, or if we had just walked outside at a different moment, or if we had ignored our friend and didn't talk to that kid in his car. Something so small and silly and seemingly unimportant, but if it hadn't happened, I would have likely never become a drummer, never been part of the ministries I've been involved in, never moved to Tennessee, and never have met the most amazing friends that I have. And the reason that I think every Christian should do this is because you'll realize just how beautifully intricate God's plans are for you. Like, little details that seem so unimportant end up being so perfectly planned to get you where He wants you. And it helps give you an appreciation for just how much He is in control. So ask God to show you some of your moments like this that were seemingly small and yet completely changes the trajectory of your life. And feel free to share them in the comments because I would love to hear them.